Let us pray. Thank you, O God, for this opportunity to gather, listen, and learn from this timely talk. We thank you for the organizers of this event. We pray that you continue to sustain them. We ask that you sustain our speakers for this session so they can deliver well to us what they have prepared to share. Grant to all listeners to make the most of this session and be more responsible with what they have gained, all toward a better society and fulfillment of your purpose for our existence. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Men who create art feel a zillion times happier than men who create wealth. Art lives on, but wealth diminishes. That is a quote from Michael Basie Johnson from the book of Maxims, Poems, and Anecdotes. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Trinity Talk Online Panel Discussion Career Edition. Ako po si Assistant Professor Dino Cantal from the Media and Communication Department of Trinity University of Asia, and I will be your host for today. Bago po natin simulan, ipakilala ang ating mga panauhin sa hapong ito. Nais ko lamang pong i-recognize ang mga manonood natin na nagmula pa sa iba't ibang paaralan sa Metro Manila at sa mga karatig pook. Maraming salamat po sa mga estudyante ng St. John's Wort Montessori School, ng Montessori Integrated School, Quezon City University, Philippine Cultural College, Caloocan City, Southern Philippines Institute of Science and Technology, Carlos L. Albert High School, De La Salle University College of St. Benilde, Tabernacle of Faith Christian Academy, Global Minds Academy of the Philippines, Fernando C. Amorsolo Senior High School, National Teachers College, Don Felix National High School, STI College, King Solomon Christian School International, at ang Trinity University of Asia. This afternoon, mga kaibigan, our panel discussion will revolve around the topic 21st Century Challenges in Multimedia Arts. This episode is organized by Trinity University of Asia's College of Engineering and Information Sciences through its Dean, Dr. Ferdinand Bunag, and his hardworking faculty. And today, we are very lucky to have some of the best people from the different fields of multimedia arts industry as our panelists. So let me introduce them to you. Mga kaibigan, ang una nating panelists ay isang taong may ginintoang boses. He can be your daddy or ang boses ng paborito mong laruan o ang announcer sa radyo na madalas mong pakinggan. Siya ang boses sa likod ng daan-daang television ads na ating napapanood mula sa commercial ng gasolinahan, bangko, sabon, shampoo, eskwelahan, gatas at mga fast food chains. Nakapagtrabaho na rin siya bilang voice talent, scriptwriter, audio engineer, editor at director sa iba't ibang multimedia companies sa loob at labas ng Pilipinas. At sa kasalukuyan, siya ay instructor sa De La Salle College of St. Benilde at sa Trinity University of Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest, Mr. Henry Bolo. Sir Henry?
Magandang hapon po, and thanks for being here. I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Sir Henry. And our second panelist is an expert in the field of animation. He has over 20 years of experience as trainer and resource speaker in computer animation and multimedia, and more than 11 years of experience in administrative functions in the academe. So he has also served as consultant for different multimedia companies and former project manager of Cream Studios and pioneer for multimedia arts program of School of Design and Arts. He's also the coordinator and faculty of the AB Animation Program and the coordinator for the School of Professional and Continued Education, or SPACE, of De La Salle College of St. Benilde. He is also the executive director for the Animation Council of the Philippines and the external vice president of the Multimedia Arts Association of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Daniel Enriquez.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Sir Dino, for the very comprehensive and very long introduction. But I'm happy to be here, and then I do hope that you guys find our particular talks very fulfilling for this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Daniel. And ang ating pangatlong panelist sa hapon na ito ay isang eksperto sa digital marketing. Nagtrabaho siya bilang Digital Marketing Head at Director for Analytics ng iba't ibang e-commerce, BPO, and advertising agencies bago ang kanyang kasalukuyang posisyon na Head ng Digital Marketing ng TerrySA Incorporated. Nagtuturo rin siya sa kanyang alma mater, ang De La Salle College of St. Benilde, ng mga kursong Interface Design for Multimedia Applications at Multimedia Strategic Marketing. Mga kaibigan, malugod kong ipinapakilala si Ginoong Gabriel Lorenzo del Carmen. Sir Gab?
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm very excited to get into it.
Thank you, Sir Gab. At sadya nga pong napakapalad ng Trinity University of Asia to have the best resource persons in multimedia fields to share their expertise with us. And let us get to know them more. Sir Henry, can you tell us what you do in the field?
I do voicing. Naggagawa rin po ako ng music. I compose music for yung mga jingles at saka... Hold on. Let me turn on my video. Ayan po, sorry. Yeah, I do voicing for commercials for yung mga AV presentations, yung mga corporate presentations. Ako po naririnig sa ilang mga restaurants at saka mga shops kapag pumapasok po kayo at kumakain. Yung mga in-house na radio station po, meron po akong sinaservice na ganun. And ayun, animation, nagmi-mix po ako ng TV shows, ng music, at nagtuturo rin po ako. Yan po.
Right. So for us to know Sir Henry more, we will be showing to you this video.
Your business can be in danger of breakdowns, accidents, and downtime.
The new Oral-B Compact Gum Care is inspired by a dentist's tool with a compact head to cup and clean each tooth, even at the back of your mouth.
The Voyavoy fiber used to make a vakul provide warmth during the months of Amyan or winter.
OMGs! 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 OMGs!
Dagling na itayo ang mga ospital. Matuling na ibigay ang tulong hanap buhay. Sa buong bansa, kailangan may balik ang malasakit sa pamumuno. It would mean everything. More than you can imagine. Even just a little.
CAT 950GC, the machine of exceptional value at an affordable price, easy to operate.
Ang bayan, umaasa din sa ating mga gawa. Sa pagsisikap natin, bubunga din ang tunay na pagbabago. Trusted quality healthcare. Unilab yan.
Yun po, boses ko po narinig ninyo doon sa mga commercial na yun.
OMGs! Oh, that's amazing, sir. Now, I am sure na yung mga nanonood sa atin sa Zoom at sa Facebook, katulad ko ay mangang-mangha dahil nabigyan ng mukha ang boses na ating naririnig lamang dati. No? So, wow, kayo po pala yon. So, it's nice to have you here, sir. And let us get to know Sir Daniel more. Sir, Sir Daniel, can you tell us what exactly do you do in the field?
Hi. Sorry for that. So, okay. So, my facet actually, if you want to know my specialization, no, it's actually 3D animation. No. However, okay, my particular, I'm not a graduate of any of those animation courses in multimedia. The reason for which is because I belong to a different type of career. Okay, my initial career was in mechanical engineering. No, I graduated way long before. Okay, hindi ko nasasabihin, but it was under mechanical engineering, I took a technical course program because basically my parents wanted to do it. But my love for and passion, no, for the arts, and this is the reason why after my license exam, I magically passed my license exam. I told my parents na I'm not keen to pursue mechanical engineering. I want to pursue the arts, and this is where I moved to IT. And eventually from IT, I moved to animation. Now, if it's okay, sir, I would want to show a snippet of my portfolio.
Go
Okay,
ahead, sir.
I'll share my screen right now.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I'll share my screen just to give you an idea of what I do. Can everybody see this? Okay, actually, this is my portfolio. Okay, it's a old portfolio, but I think that it's something that's more relevant for me and relevant for the talk. Okay, this is the reason why. Okay, as a engineer, okay, it took me a great advantage to go through the technical side of multimedia arts. Okay, we started multimedia arts way back 1998. Okay, and it started with the short course programs in De La Salle College of St. Brigid, and we went into a full undergrad program. Okay, so the program, okay, actually when we were still conceptualizing it, I was already working with other studios, and this is Scream Studios where I worked with games. Okay, so I worked as a project manager. Okay, and I learned the ropes in 3D animation so that you could produce the art that you see right now on your screen. Okay, so we did a variety of games, everything from 3D games to Flash games. Okay, and even short games in Facebook. Okay, this is a 3-point shootout. I don't know if you guys ever played this one. This was launched way back 2010, 2011. Okay, and that's a 3-point challenge. We design interfaces also. So actually in multimedia arts, okay, to complete the whole package. Just like what Henry Bolo is, okay, he designs audio, it gives life to the medium. In our case, okay, it's not just stills and graphics, it's also animation. Okay, so papagalaw namin yung mga elements nandiyan, whether it be characters, whether it be menus and designs or elements, it's part of animation. Okay, so I worked with that, and we came up with very powerful visuals. Now, one of the things that was a what you call this a staple for me was doing CAD designs, okay, interiors and 3D animation, and we did a lot of architectural visualization. Okay, the reason for which is because, of course, with 3D you're able to give out visuals, very good visuals of the projects in mind. Okay, I also worked with other architectural firms to come up with prototypes and studies for very, very innovative type of designs and structures for architecture. Okay, and of course, walang kamatay na sitemap. But multimedia arts and 3D is not just that. Okay, of course, there is websites. During my time, okay, 2013 and 14, we did websites. We also did interactive modules for kids. And of course, we did a lot of 3D. Okay, during that time, it was really funny because we were already sculpting for we're already sculpting for 3D printing. But 3D printing back then was very crude and very slow. This is way back 2014, okay, 2012, 2013. But we were already designing. Okay. Of course, a lot of it belongs to photography, and I'm an avid fan of toy photography. Okay, you'd find me in my group presenting in ToyCon. Okay, so so interactives, okay, a lot of things. And actually, if you take a look at it, okay, multimedia is not just about doing animation, doing graphics, but the culminative effort of making all of these things fit into one package. Okay, so like for example, this one, we do educational videos. Okay, we teach entrepreneurship, and we use infographics for that. Okay, so we merge info and text and audio, of course. Okay, so coming out with the complete package is our design. Okay, and that's why multimedia arts, animation, okay, they fall in a very special level. Even audio design, okay, falls in a special level of integrating everything of these components and coming up with something that's very new and very attractive for our audiences. So yeah, I would end there. I would stop my share. And so yes, sir, you guys can move on to the next speaker. Thank you, Sir Dino.
Thank you so much, Sir Daniel. Napakagaling po ng ginagawa ninyo and it piqued my interest in animation. Thank you so much. And let's go to Sir Gabriel. Sir Gabriel, can you give us an idea of what you do in the field?
Sure. Actually, compared to the other two speakers, my skills aren't as performative. It's not it's not speaking or it's not making animations, but it's really in the background. So a lot of people might be thinking, sir, why are you here? Hindi man po kayo like super multimedia arts marketing. No, it's not like that. So I started out as a multimedia graduate, and my dream before was to really be an editor, a magazine editor. But by the time I graduated, I realized na parang not a lot of people are reading print anymore. But my own well, I love the internet. So as a millennial, growing up with the internet is something that's very big. So I wanted to merge those two and really have that graphic design element and also move to the internet. So my first job, instead of being like a magazine editor or like working for a magazine, I ended up doing ads for Google. So that's how I got really my entry into multimedia arts in that industry. But as you learn with anything, I think we'll discuss it later. Multimedia arts is not one thing. It keeps changing every 2 years, every year. So the technologies you have right now might be obsolete in a year, 2 years later. It's so funny because back in college, we were really learning about Flash. But then when I graduated, literally I only used Flash for 2 months before Google deprecated it. Like they really stopped using Flash already in HTML5. So after doing a lot of ads for Google, I started, well, that all the clients that we work with are really from the other countries and abroad. But then I really started to wonder how we do it here in the Philippines. So I left Google and then started with a startup company called Cavalry Digital. Their main focus really is to help brands, well, old companies transition into digital. That's where I really found like my calling is to really help a lot of these companies here in the Philippines and even in abroad to really transform into digital, really help them to go into digital. So when I wanted to, after doing that, like it just blew up from there. I got to meet a lot of big companies, and really one of them was Havaianas, which is the big brand of Terry SA right now, which where I am right now. So I've been with them. I've been working for them for 2 to 3 years already, and that's something that I really love doing right now. And other than just digital marketing inside the company, I also had a lot of their efforts for e-commerce. So if on Facebook, I'm so sorry, you see a lot of ads of Havaianas and other brands out there. So that's probably a big part, or well, that's my fault. Or we really want to help a lot of companies transition into not just having a website or Facebook and all that stuff, but really make it more harder working for them. And another thing that people don't realize for multimedia arts is social media plays a big part of it. So a lot of the content you see in social media is really a result of a lot of our students, not just in Benil, but even in Trinity. So I'm not going to dive deeper any further because I would love to have discussions already with the other speakers. So thank you, Sardino.
Thank you so much. But before we go, I think you prepared something like
Oh
your
yes, just a very short.
very short portfolio. Okay,
Mhm.
let's watch this.
Yeah, somebody will share it with me. There you go. It's just very short.
Right. So that's very interesting, no? Ikaw pala, sir, ang may kasalanan kung bakit ang dami namin nakikitang ads sa aming
Correct.
Facebook. But that's very interesting. Thank you very much, Sir Gab.
Sure.
Now let's move to the panel discussion. Now that we already know them better, let's start. My first question is, the year 2020 is a very challenging year for many industries because of the onslaught of COVID-19. And I would like to know, because you came from different fields of multimedia, what is the current state of the field that you are in, or how is it coping with the pandemic? Let's start with Sir Henry.
Um, sorry, I'm just having a difficult time right now with my setup. Baka may narinig kayo nag-echo. Can you get back to me in 1 second? Oh, isang pala sandali. Sorry. Sir Dan, kayo muna kaya sandali. Sorry.
Right.
Sige. So while ano, no, Sir Henry is fixing his setup, sige, I would answer that. No, ganito, I represent two facets of the industry. One is educational, and the one is studio based. I think you guys are interested into industry. Okay, in industry, okay, in terms of animation, no, in terms of animation and studios, they are currently work from home. Okay, currently work from home. And the setup before the pandemic was very ideal, no? Kasi we are 100% capacity. All studios are able to comply, no? For those who don't know, okay, Animation Council of the Philippines is actually comprised of 30 to 50 member studios, okay? And these member studios, they operate in a very physical type of thing. So, hindi sila online. Okay, they work in their own outfits and companies and studios. Now, these studios, they enjoy a very tight coordination because they've been doing animation services. No, so we do stuff for Disney. Okay, Toon City does for Disney. Okay, Snipples also does particular titles, no, for Cartoon Network. And since they're very tight, it was a very challenging time for them when COVID went in. Okay, the reason for which is because they're now forced to work at home. And some people enjoy working at home. Some artists don't because they find it very distracting. Okay, if you are an artist myself, okay, I'm an artist myself, and if I'm at home, it's hard for me to focus because there are people running around. There are your parents, no, knocking at your door, okay, and then you have your pamangkin and yung mga pinsan mo, okay, nang kukulit sa gilid. You cannot focus at work. Okay, but for some people, they can focus at work and they're able to generate more output kasi there's no travel anymore. Okay, and commuting to work, okay, which for most people is 4 hours a day, 2 hours papunta sa work, 2 hours after, okay, they can now spend a lot of time focusing in their work. So despite the pandemic, a number of people, okay, generate more output, no? And actually, it's a very good time, okay, since you asked, kasi most people feel that, okay, it's a depressing time, okay, people are being laid off and so forth, which is true, no? Some people are losing jobs, okay, especially for creatives. But it come to the resolution that some companies are now looking at what we call not downsizing, we call it right sizing. And right sizing means that they evaluate their occupations. Minsan kasi nag-hire sila ng maraming BG artists, minsan kasi nag-hire sila maraming layout and then BIP animators na kung tutusin in their pipeline, pwede naman hindi. So it became a realization that we could fit pala in an outfit. Okay, now currently most of the studios are now in a setup that is work from home. Okay, work from home. It is safer. It's very convenient. And thanks to FDCP, FDCP actually gave protocols, but some people are angry at them kasi nga they place in protocols for film and shooting. But FDCP recognized that the industry for animation and multimedia, no, kung tutusin, can be a very promising field to go into for the new norm. Why? Because it is safer. Okay, you don't have to go out to shoot. You don't have to go to protocols. You don't have to wear PPEs. You stay at home, okay, or you stay at a very desirable place, and you can still continue production. Okay, unlike most of the live action and so forth, which is a very, very difficult. No, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's very difficult and very expensive. Okay, so yeah, yan ang nangyayari sa animation industry, and I think also in most multimedia outfits they have this. Okay, I do dread the idea of people still going to work, okay, despite of this, and kung kaya nga ng mga tao na magstay sa bahay nila, okay, they stay at home, okay, and they can still work. I think the new norm for smaller studios is to stay at home. Okay, and enjoy a work-time balance, with their families, without the sacrifice of losing valuable time Okay, when it comes to commuting. Okay, so yun lang. Okay, that's it. Sir Henry, ikaw naman?
Finally, I have my microphone
Yeah.
working correctly. Sorry po ah.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, ganito po. Sa voiceover, it's two worlds happening at the same time. Two sides of the same coin. We have this pandemic that's happening ngayon. Tapos, ang daming voiceover work na kailangan gawin. That's the thing because there's so much work that needs to be done. Dahil number one, in education, there is so much. Hindi lang dito po sa Pilipinas, sa buong mundo, everyone is rushing to get out new online-based material para sa online learning. So, ang daming kailangan gawin. Education right now is very hot with lots of, not just voiceover, but even animation like Sister Dan. Ang dami pong work na kailangan gawin and you just have to find the right opportunity. There's work out there. It just needs to be found. And, well, sadly, there are a lot of people who cannot get into the game dahil kailangan nyo po ng equipment to get started with voiceover. Katulad ninyo, ako rin dito po sa aking sa neighborhood ko, baka mamaya may maririnig kayong asong tumatahol o dumadaan na sasakyan o mga naglalaba o ayun,
Nagbebenta ng taho.
nagbebenta ng taho. Yung manok, tumitila ako manok. Construction. Yan. All of us have the same problem. And more especially para sa aming mga voiceover artists dahil yung microphone na ginagamit po namin is very sensitive. Okay? So that means in mga 50 meters away, yung aking kapitbahay na naghihilik, dinig ko, magbibilang ko yung kanyang hilik from where I am. Dahil ganun ka-sensitive yung mga microphones na ginagamit namin. So that's one hurdle right now for a lot of the voiceover talents because they cannot afford equipment. And dati kasi, we used to go to the recording studios to record there when the recording studios would call us, oh, may project tayo, punta ka rito sa amin. Okay, pupunta kami doon sa Makati o dito sa Quezon City. And we get the work done. Dati ganun. Ngayon hindi pa pwede eh. May pandemya tayo eh. So now, a lot of people are actually buying microphones. Yung BM800, napakamabenta. Tapos, yung, ayun oh, ginagamit niya.
I had to, sir, for teaching. OMG.
Yeah. The BM800 and also, yung iba gumagamit ng V8 na sound card. Yeah, isa sa mga options yan na meron for that one. But in voiceover, we use a certain brand at saka model na kanilang hinahanap ng mga kliyente. And these are very sensitive microphones and they're quite expensive. They're quite expensive. I was fortunate enough na from my years of experience, nakapag-ipon po ako ng konti para meron akong konting puhunan na equipment para sa, ayun oh, may aso. Yeah, so there is a lot of work and for those who have equipment, ang dami. I mean, hindi ka mauubusan ng racket left and right. You can retire after this one. Parang ganun eh. To that point na halos of course, exaggerate lang sinasabi ko, but yes, there's a lot of work out there. Problem is, marami ring walang equipment. So that is a problem. But as long as you've got yourself going with equipment, may skills ka, tapos meron kang kwarto na hindi ka mamumroblema sa mga sounds galing sa environment, okay ka. Mabubuhay ka. Yun nga lang, mainit. Kasi sa recording studios, aircon yung mga yun eh. Pero dito, kino-convert lang natin yung ating kwarto or it could be yung ating CR or somewhere or like yung cabinet natin and it's hot. Sa loob, napakainit. Mas mainit pa sa sauna. So, after 15 minutes, 20 minutes inside an enclosed space, ang init talaga. Kulang yung lalagyan ninyo ng tawag ito ng silicone gel para to minimize yung moisture. Hindi sapat yun. You really have to blow an electric fan into the room to dissipate yung moisture sa loob ng kwarto, or else masisira yung equipment. So, sa ating industry, as long as you've got yourself equipment and you've got an internet connection, mabubuhay ka ngayon and for the next 2 years or so. You just have to find the work. Marketing mo lang para sa sarili. Yun lang po.
Actually, I think I'll jump on there, no? Sir Henry said marketing, no?
Yeah.
Digital marketing, well, I'll talk about multimedia in 2 facets. So number 1, as a digital marketer, and number 2, as a professor of MMA, right? So the first one, in digital marketing, I would say we are in the golden age of digital marketing. A lot of brands right now, a lot of companies right now are really trying to find people or trying to find help to convert their retail stores or retail businesses into full digital ones. In my experience right now, we're doing 2 years worth of work in 6 months. We were able to convert all of our main businesses, which is retail. Okay, so in COVID times, not a lot of people go out to the malls. So a lot of us as a culture, as a Filipino culture, really love to go out to the malls. And a lot of our businesses are based off of that. And once you take that out, once you take the people outside of the malls, there are no more businesses already. So a lot of businesses right and left are really closing down. And that really poses a big, threat for a lot of our bigger companies, smaller companies out there. Which is why right now there's a lot of need for people or need for, or what do you call these, specialists to help transform those businesses to make them online. Which is why in the last few months, you see a lot of these Viber businesses or companies open up Viber groups to sell their products, or a lot of restaurants selling frozen items, tapos they sell it through Facebook, and even other companies opening up their own websites. So as multimedia artists, when you learn all the facets of multimedia arts, you can start helping. They teach you in multimedia arts. They teach you how to do web design. They teach you how to do poster making. They teach you how to do audio. Like all of that, once you're able to express all of that and help businesses out, that is digital transformation altogether. I was very lucky to be in a company who was open to do that. So Terry SA, I've been working for them for almost like 3 years already. Like even back then in 2017, we already had a lot of efforts to transform the company. It was just really fast forwarded in 2020 because of COVID. Now you can see Havaianas being sold everywhere online. We're on Shopee, we're on Lazada, we're on Zalora. We have our own great Havaianas.ph that you can visit. And every month, we know that a lot of people need their slippers. That's something I really pride ourselves on right now. We try to deliver as much as we can, and we try to fulfill every order out there because that's something that everybody needs right now. What we found out that a lot of people want to not use the same shoes when they go outside, and then once they go back home, they want to change into their Havaianas. And just knowing that, just to be part of that process, because as a multimedia artist or as a multimedia person who practices, but I don't even consider myself an artist anymore because multimedia in its core is, I would say, part of marketing as a whole. So think of marketing as the umbrella, and then everything under it are all the executions. It's just that now in this age where we can't touch each other, we can't even be in the same room as each other, digital and multimedia arts is just really growing in that facet already. But talking as a teacher of multimedia, I have a lot of students who already come to me and say, "Sir, I need help because I want to start doing gigs. I want to start doing sidelines and side businesses." The great thing about being a multimedia artist is that you're able to work a lot of projects at the same time and different projects at that. I have a lot of students who want to say, "Sir, I want to help this brand do social media. Like, how should I charge for it? Or how should I do it? Or how should I go about it?" And these are not just like 1 or 2 students. You see lots of students forming little groups and really helping out other brands and other businesses. This is even before they graduated yet. So having that skill set, learning multimedia and all of that really allows you to, number one, be so proficient in everything. Well, not really proficient, but more of to know and dip your foot around like different buckets, and really allows you greater scope over everything. I would argue now, right now, a lot of people tell me, because also it's like, ay, bakit multimedia arts? Parang you're jack of all trades, master of none. But that in itself is such a big skill. The more you know about the different industries, the more you have a singular perspective that you can deliver. If you know about all of these, like about Photoshop, about video editing, about animation, or even voiceovers, and even like static images, if you have a singular, if you can help businesses or like or companies drive their singular thought process or their singular business objective across all of that media, that's great. So what I'm trying to get at, I think, is multimedia arts or MMA as an industry is thriving, especially right now. Just because at its core, multimedia arts is so digital. And right now, there's no other place where we can be in other than digital. So I think that's it.
Right. Maraming salamat, Sir Dan, Sir Gab, and Sir Henry. And what I can say is that your field, multimedia, is actually very fit for this particular situation that we have right now. So a lot of you are working from home, and at yun nga, yung digital marketing, isa ako sa mga bumibili sa Shopee. Yay! So now let's move to the next question. And we all know that you are experts in your field. Can you share to us the challenges that you have encountered when you were starting and maybe until today? I mean, what are the challenges that you are also experiencing every now and then? Let's start with Sir Gab. Sir Gab, can you please do the honors?
Sure. I would say one of the biggest challenges when I started out was much like technology as a whole, digital or multimedia arts changes very fast. What is in today might not be in tomorrow. What you're learning today might not be applicable tomorrow. So one great example, I actually mentioned it very quickly kanina, was Flash. So for those who don't know, Flash is a technology that, what do you call that? That is used to create games and ads during the early 2000s up to the late 2000s, so around 2010. I was learning Flash in the classroom in 2011 or 12, and by the time I graduated, I only used it for 2 months inside Google. So Google, of course, is the leader for everything digital right now. So they said, oh, we're only going to do our ads in Flash for 2 more months, and then after we'll stop it already. So one of the biggest challenges really for a multimedia artist is to stay current with any other job, but none more so than a multimedia artist or a multimedia practitioner. Because if you are creating content for a platform that's dead, for example, YouTube is very big right now, but then for the younger children, or for I don't want to say children, but for the younger generation, TikTok is the biggest thing. So a lot of them love TikTok. A lot of them like to, what do you call that? Do their videos, dance videos and challenges on there. But actually TikTok was a product of two products that were put together. So it was Vine, which was a platform a few years ago, and Musical.ly. So somebody found or founded the app and merged those two apps together. So a lot of the times people don't even know what the platforms come from right now. Even the live streaming option came from a platform called Periscope. So Periscope is an app a few years ago that was mainly just for going live, like what we're doing now. So the big challenge is to really stay current. That's the hardest thing, because as a practitioner of all of this, you have to learn it yourself, experience it yourself, and really, if you want the businesses or you to thrive, you really have to be able to understand all these platforms.
Right. Thank you so much, Sir Gab. Let's ask Sir Henry. Sir Henry, same question.
Very true. Whatever Sir Gab was saying is holds true para dito sa atin sa voiceover. You see, voiceover is about relationship building with those you have already worked with if you've been in the business long enough. Okay? Because yung mga dating customer mo, nasihan sa trabaho mo, babalik sa'yo. And there's a lot of repeat business that will keep on happening. And maganda yon for you para tuloy-tuloy ang income mo, because they're the same people with different projects who come back to you again and again. Kung ikaw ay nagsisimula pa lang in the industry, you're gonna have to keep on marketing yourself. Let more people and more people know that you exist, and this is something that you specialize in. Like ako, for example, they know me for the Unilab voice because of yung alam niyo yung ganitong medyo mabait na parang medyo tatay. Yeah, that kind of thing. They know me for that kind of work, and they go to me for that kind of voice. There's this one guy who I can emulate his voice, and pagka kailangan lang ng ganong klaseng boses kasi mahal at saka mahirap makuha yung celebrity na yon. So ako yung kanilang pinupuntahan, yung alternative, yung kaya manggaya ng boses niya. So yun. If you have certain type of brand, a certain specialty, they will go to you, and you just need to make people know that you are available to get that work done. Okay. One thing that I have to warn you on is that don't think that you will get a customer in your first 10 tries. It won't happen. Okay? It's gonna be excruciating. Iiyak ka. Baka umiyak ka pa ng dugo. Kasi sobrang dami mo nang pinadalahan ng proposals mo, ng demos mo, ng letters, emails, and everything. And you're still not getting anything. It may take a year before you can actually get someone to get your services. And you have to be patient because kahit naman siguro sa kahit anong field, for as long as you need to get people to start trusting you and your work, it will take about a year, 6 months. Nobody will buy in the first try. If you do, you're very lucky. Pero sa totoo lang po ako, I mean, I've had, ito na lang I mean, I started working with let me just say yung sino ba? Wag, kasi I don't think I'm allowed. But anyway, the restaurant that I'm working with, excuse me, the restaurant that I'm working with, before they got me, I actually sent them a proposal 2 to 3 years before they actually got me, and I gave up on them. Hindi na ako nagpa-prospect sa kanila, and I was prospecting someone else, some other firms, but they came back to me. And then they got my services. And now it's a continuous relationship with that restaurant. So, yun na po. Make sure that you get yourself out there and market yourself. More than anything else, kasi katulad na sinabi ni Sir Gab, it's a game of marketing with all of the other executions in smaller bits to support the main function of marketing. Because this whole thing, lahat na ginagawa ninyo, it's all about earning money. Marketing. Yun po.
Thank you, Sir Henry. And let's move to Sir Dan. Sir Dan, what are the challenges that you encountered before and now?
Well, one funny moment that where I had the blooper, no, I used to remember, is that okay? This is connected to Gab's idea for master. Okay, master of everything. Well known to everything, but master of none. Well, when I first started out as an artist, no, as a designer in general, okay, I started with IT. Okay, started with IT. It's really weird because right after engineering, parang kala sa akin comsci because I had to do Java, I had to do SQL, and then I had to do databases, basically databases. And after doing that, biglang nakita ko na, it's not moving anywhere. Okay, IT was a boom in the 1995s and 2000, but it wasn't moving. So I had to study on my own. So I bought books, maraming libro. Okay, I would invest on books. I would buy those really thick textbook like things, 5,000 isa. Okay, in computer graphics, in Photoshop, in computer aided design, in 3D Studio Max. I learned them on my own. Okay, it's very hard and very difficult, and it can be very expensive. I know. I used to remember I would splurge 5 to 10K just to buy books, and I have to do my research. Okay. It's funny because I would get clients. No, I would get clients. The clients are really referral. If they're happy with you, you do it. But I always have to bluff. Why? Minsan kasi, even though we don't know it, but there is a need, you have to go for that need. Okay? Pag sinabi nila sa akin na, uy, kailangan natin mag-Flash. Okay, just like Gabe, I don't like Flash. It was very crude. And I don't like the Flash scripting and so forth. But we had to do it. And if I can't do it, I'll hire somebody to do it for me and mix it with graphics and mix it with animation so that it could be packaged better. And sa totoo lang, no, most of the times when you show up with ano with our particular specific clients, no, the clients would say, hey, can you do this? Can you do integrate animation? Can you do VR? Can you do something? Alam mo, because of what we need, okay, I would say yes to it. Why? Okay, sir, bakit yes? Alam mo, along the way, habang ginagawa mo siya, you'd learn it eh. Okay, and that's the thing. Okay, you have to learn really fast. You have to adapt that idea that shifting to one facet of or area of expertise in multimedia to another helps a lot. Kung hindi ko alam ang audio, papag-aralan ko yung audio. It's good that you have a multimedia background because may nalaman ka ng basics and all you have to is specialize in something else. Okay, so if the need goes into, you move towards that. So bluffing is one thing, but make sure that when you bluff, okay, for a project, in a project, paninindigan mo, okay, up to the very end. Okay, if you can't do it yourself, there are other people that are better than you. Okay, in that particular aspect, you get them. Okay, so if I were given the choice, sabihin natin, mag-voice over and so forth, hindi magkukunwari. I will hire people like Henry Bolo for that. Okay, if for example, kailangan mag-spread for digital marketing, I won't pretend. No, I would get people. Okay, I would get Gabriel for that. No, so that's the whole idea, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. No, kaya lang sometimes just to get the project and it's already there. Alam mo yon, ulan na yan galing heaven, manna from heaven na yon. So, kung papalipasin mo pa yon, talo na tayo. Okay? One aspect also that I want to get through, and I was reading and peeking through the question and answers, no? Underrated daw yung ating particular profession. Alam mo the reason why it's underrated? Kasi pumapayag tayo. I believe there's a value that Henry does, that Gabe does, and we all have. The problem is there are people who think that value can be eroded by money. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, I would respect, for example, sabihin natin, kami ni Henry ay audio designer, lahat kami audio designer. Kung ano yung presyo ko is different from his presyo, iba-iba ang presyo niya. Kaya lang out of due respect, nag-iiba tayo ng presyo, kaya lang iba rin ang mga binibigay natin. And it's sad to say lang, the some people, when they see Henry giving out at this price, ay bababaan ko para makuha ko yung project. Okay, and that erodes the value of industry. Okay, if Gabe here would give a project package for digital marketing and then he gives it to his clients, and then suddenly, offer niya is 200K, ay offer niya 500,000, ay tayo dapat ng ng 150 okay 100K lang para makuha nating project. That is not true. That is undercutting the industry. That is destroying the industry because our true value is supposed to be premium. Our true value is premium. Kaya lang if you do that, you erode everybody else's. Kasi kala nila, kakagat na. It's like going in Divisoria, no? When you look for that nice shoe na discounted, pag in-offer na 2,000 dun sa isang store, then you go to another store, ay, in-offer sa akin 2,000. O sige, 1,800 na nga. O kaya 1,500 na and so forth. Malalaman mo, ang tubo lang naman niya talaga is 500 pesos. So he's selling it off at is. Ayaw ko naman ng ganon. That's why it destroys the career. So we would only survive in the industry if we hold value into it. I'm not saying that there should be a price for everything. I'm saying that whatever prices that we have, whatever costs that we have, we keep it as is because if we lower that, that becomes a precedent for other people to follow. Okay? So kung in-offer ni Sir Henry ang services niya at 5,000, di lahat tayo magfa 5,000. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It destroys the industry. Okay. Siyempre, that's Henry's. I could add more. Mine can be less, mine can be more, but it depends on what other things that we have. Package deal eh. So, those are the things that I think that the challenge for us is to respect each other's cost structure. Do not destroy our value. Okay. Don't destroy our value.
Can I add just to that, yung having where people think why multimedia is somewhat underrated? I think there's two aspects. It goes back into they always think that the arts is an industry that is not necessary, or people think that arts are not necessary. It's not needed, basically. Yeah, they think that.
Yeah. Yes.
But
yes.
they don't know how much. One of the reasons why I think multimedia artists or multimedia is not really an industry where a lot of people value, it's because a lot of the job is done behind the scene. So a lot of the work is behind the scene. What a lot of people see already is the finished product, and they take that for granted a lot of the times. So right now, again, going back to the younger generation, they love watching YouTube. They love watching ano yun? TikTok. They love their Instagram influencers, all of that. But by the time they see the end product, which is that video, there's a lot of work that goes into it. The planning for the shoot itself, and even the actual like editing. And all of that is multimedia arts. And all of that is done by one or two people only. So people undervalue multimedia as a whole because they don't know the full process. Which is why, yeah, they don't know the full process. Eh. So parang, which is why you have a lot of these a lot of these up and coming people na parang influencers or whatever, or people who want to get into the industry and say, I want to do it because it seems easy. But by the time they learn the full process of how you create a movie, how you create videos, how you create VR or any of the games out there, they start to get scared and they be like, ay, wag na lang. But then coming out of that, people either, they start to respect na, ay, there's so much work that goes into it pala talaga. So to anybody out there, or to all the students who aspire to become multimedia artists, please check it out. Like, I know you want to become a streamer. I know you want to become a YouTuber. I know you want to, create content for the world and all of that stuff. That's great. But then we also implore you to really see the process of how it's being done. And that's why I think a lot of students also want to go into multimedia arts, because they know the process and they want to do it. The first step is always educating yourself on the process itself. Actually, when I wanted to do multimedia arts in Benil, when I told my dad, he was like, "Wait lang, multimedia arts, what's that?" But then we went to the open house of Benil for multimedia arts, and then my dad saw all of the things that I can do one day. Parang it's either like doing film or doing what you call that, photography and all of that stuff. Then he realized, oh, multimedia arts is not just drawing lang. It's actually much deeper than that. So yun.
Yeah, I'll pick up from what you said, Gabe, no? Kasi I do the talks also for that, no? It's actually educating our fathers and mothers or parents that this is a lucrative profession. Kasi during their time, if you want to know, their time, it's basically print lang. And sa print, they have this notion na, ay, madali lang yan. Ay, print lang yan, graphics lang yan. And to tell you frankly, I feel that our artists during that time were very exploited. Why? Because they know that most of the artists are fine arts graduates, and some of them don't even have degrees. So they have the assumption na kung graphic designer, ay, graphic designer ka lang, ganito lang bayad mo. And that eroded the value of the industry because of that notion. But now, sama sa sinabi mo, since they don't know the process na kagano ka-difficult siya, kagano ka-technical siya, kagano ka-encompassing siya sa business, sa enterprise, and how powerful it is to market your needs and products, ngayon lang nila na-realize na it's a very powerful thing to be in multimedia. Okay? So I guess it's really educating these people na alam mo ang multimedia hindi yan kagaya ng print. It's not as easy as making a billboard, lalagay lang sa EDSA. Yun na kaagad, malaking tarpaulin. Yan na ang digital marketing ko. No, it's not like that. Or even placing in an ad sa website, no, o kaya banner, ay mag-FB group lang ako and so forth, benta ko na doon. No, it's not that. Okay, you have to be strategic, you have to know the process, and there's certain theory in it. Okay, unfortunately for most people, they undermine that. So that's why somehow our challenge also is to educate these people. Na even our clients, they don't know that. So that's why you have to educate your client also. But you have to be well versed on that also. Hindi lang bola. It's mostly, alam mo, ito papagdaanan natin, may proseso to, may stage 1, may stage 2, and stage 3. Maski na sa finances, sasabihin mo, mag-down payment ka, next down payment natin, next project milestone natin, at the end of the project period, 30% na lang o 20% ang babayaran mo. So, may mga ganon. And clients are, in a way, are happy to be knowledgeable also. Okay? But yun nga, ang preceded dyan is that kala nila graphics are graphics, fine arts are fine arts. No? It goes back to the idea, even education, no? Online education has been eroded also. No? But kasi mag-Zoom lang tayo and stuff like that, you don't pay for Zoom and so forth. No, it's not true. Okay? natatawa nga ako sa isang group, no? Oy, pa 3D print na lang. Kala nila madali mag 3D print. But before you make the 3D print, you have to make the 3D model. Before you make the 3D model, you have to have skills in 3D modeling. Before you have skills in 3D modeling, you have to know about application software and so forth. So, dun napupunta. So, minsan, yung freebie na yan o kaya pro bono na yan, it does not help kasi minsan they get to the idea na ay pwede naman free eh. Ay pwede naman download lang eh. Ang Pinoy mahilig sa ganyan. So yun, okay? Another challenge to educate our clients and educate also our ano no, our client our supply chain sa totoo lang.
Yeah, po.
Sige,
And
sir.
if I may also add to that one, a lot of people are thinking that it's okay to go on and have things for free, or maybe we can do it ourselves. Yeah, the problem with that is that if they don't know what the process is, most likely your objective of earning money from the whole effort is not going to happen. Malulugi ka pa. Okay? Like what Sir Dan said, you have to strategize. Hindi lang po pwede maglabas ka lang ng isang ad sa EDSA tapos magbebenta ka na. It's not just the act of magbebenta ka. Bibili ba yung tao? Did you strategize for that one? Did you actually go for the right kind of people who would want to buy that thing? Baka hindi. Baka mamaya yung mga taong tinatarget mo pala nakatira underground pero sa EDSA ka pala nag-billboard tapos kamahal-mahal. 'Di ba? Useless lang eh. So you really have to have the right kind of thing for every effort that you have. Be knowledgeable and be currently knowledgeable. It's not just stuff that you learned from 20 years ago. You got to know what's going on right now with how things are being done right now. Yun po. Educate people. If you yourself is educated, but the person you're talking to is not, okay? And kung matigas ang ulo at mayabang siya, sabihin nyo, okay, sige, do it yourself. Kung malugi ka, balikan mo ako. I'll help you earn money from it.
Right. So yes, thank you so much for those answers. Very informative. At sana nga ay mabago ang pagtingin ng mga tao. And this next question is actually related to my previous question, because aside from being proficient in the technical side of the multimedia production and marketing and communication, what do you think are the traits and values and soft skills that any person who wish to work in your field should possess? Let's begin with Sir Henry. Sir Henry?
Siguro po, okay, I would start with patience, because before you could get started with any kind of work, you have to be patient in the lull time before you get any kind of work at all, because it could be frustrating with not getting any work. And that continues on when you do get clients, pero yung mga kliyente nyo naman, medyo mahirap makatrabaho. If that happens, you still have to be patient altogether and make sure that the co-workers you have will also be able to produce, and you have to be patient with them as well. So patience, and of course, in addition with knowledge, is one of the things. And of course, creativity. This is a very creative field that we have. And we can't just make use of the formulas that's been used. Of course, there's a science to everything. Everything is based on science. But with the science that you have in your brain, you have to start innovating and make things for yourself. Because if you just make use of the things that have been going for the past so many years, you might find yourself in a situation wherein someone can do it better than you. Okay? So make sure that you always innovate with what you have. And ito nga pala, problema to sa Pinoy. Okay? Ang problema sa Pinoy, we have empty pride. Ang galing ko sa ganito eh. Pero sa totoo, it's just based on a very small skill set. And if you take a look at what the whole world is doing, what you're applying, or maybe what you know, is very little compared to what they're doing. Okay? You may be doing things wildly, but they're following certain standards. And it doesn't make us look good in the world market when we're wild with our actions and our plans and our ideas that are not aligned with how things are happening throughout the world. I am a big fan of standards, world standards, and that will help you get work anywhere if for as long as you are certified, you are educated, and you know how to innovate from those things. So have those skills, and of course, be a personable person. Pagka meron ka nun, bebenta ka. Yun lang po.
Thank you so much, Sir Henry. Let's hear it from Sir Gab. Sir Gab, what do you think are the traits and values and soft skills that any person who wish to go to digital marketing should possess?
Sure, I have two traits that I really feel like the last 3 years have been very crucial to what I'm doing right now. So number one is collaborative. Be collaborative. Be collaborative being digital marketing is such a broad strokes na parang field, and then you have your own limits, and there are things that you can't do, and then there are other things that you have to lean on other people to do. So having that collaborative nature or practicing that collaborative nature is so important in our industry, because a lot of projects move at the same time. The thing about digital marketing is everything will move at the same time, and you really have you have to trust the people you're with to be able to move together, because you can't lead all these projects yourself. You can't do all these projects yourself. Having that collaborative trait is really important, and that's something I tried to practice in college and tried to practice outside when I started working already. Trusting the people you're with and giving them and empowering them to do it also. The second one is being data driven. So Sir Henry said that parang our industry is a creative industry. Yes, we are a very creative industry, but now there are so many ways to validate that creativity. Digital marketing is not art. It's not a artistic field, but they both dabble in the creatives and the image. Digital marketing can always be validated with numbers. For example, if I roll out 2 ads that look very different, at the end of the day, the audience will prefer one ad over the other. Whatever that ad has in terms of parang imagery, or I used a red button here, or I put a picture of a model here and that worked better, I will use that in all of my other ads moving forward because I know that will work. That is not your creativity or your creative gut telling you na parang, oh, this looks better because I feel like it's better. No. You have to be open-minded enough to use the data right in front of you to tell you and to inform you that this is the right thing to do or this is what we should pursue. A lot of the times kasi a lot of the industries or the old school way of marketers do is this looks better because it's more fit with the brand. It fits the brand altogether. But then here you are with all of this data that says otherwise. But then since they're the more senior one in the company or in the group, let's pursue this one because it looks better. But even you knowing na parang that's not going to work moving forward. So in my industry, numbers don't lie. I hated math back in college and in high school, but now it's my friend. It tells me if my work is validated or if it works. If the numbers are positive, are great, that's okay. Even if for me myself, the artist inside me says na ang pangit ng ad, but then people seem to like it. It's okay. So trust the numbers, but make sure at the end of the day, it works for everyone.
Right. Sir Dan, what's your idea about this?
For me, soft skills, no? Henry already touched on communication and creativity, while Gabe has gone for the portion for collaboration. No? Not, kung tutuusin, there's no such thing as a one-man army. You have to deal with people. No? You have to deal with people no matter what. Sa akin, I want to stress in 2 things. No? One is adaptability. No? Nasabi ko na kanina. Okay? Able to adapt to new situations. So kunyari, ang specialization ko, sabihin natin photography, it doesn't mean that I cannot shift as a multimedia artist, readily shift to web design or readily shift to graphic design or go to animation. Okay, because of fundamentals in arts and fundamentals in designing and looking at art in a particular way, because of your fundamentals in sabihin natin life drawing and so forth, you can easily shift. But the problem is most people find it hard to shift. Okay, because they would always think that it's application-based, it's software-based, it's hardware. No way. Minsan, these are just excuses that you tell to yourselves na, I can't do it because wala akong pera and stuff like that. Then you have to have the drive. And that's the next thing I want to talk about, resilience. Okay, and this is where millennials fail. No, where boomers and those from Gen X prevails. Okay, resilience. Resilience means na, alam mo, it's very true. No, it's not only in graduates for LaSalle and graduates ng Ateneo, but generally, no, mga millennials, pinagalitan lang ng boss, pinagsabihan lang. The next day, nagtatampo na, tapos, okay, by the end of 2 weeks, biglang lilipat na trabaho. Okay, ganun na. Okay, just leave and go a wall. Okay? The professionalism erodes from there because of resilience. Okay? Resilience kasi actually builds up that professionalism. You took on the project, you said yes to this job because you know that in your heart, despite what, panindigan mo ang decision mo. Okay? Some people don't have that. Okay? That commitment, no, nawawala. So, nasisira rin ang younger generation sa start niya. I don't know how resilience happened, was developed by the boomer generation nung time ng grandfather natin, tas fathers natin. But I can tell you that it comes with the generation. I think because nakita nila there are many other opportunities, it's easy for them to shift from one opportunity to another. It becomes a downfall for most people. Okay, so if I were them, pagdating sa resilience na yan, panindigan nila ang sinasabi nila, be committed to the type of work that they said. Okay, and stick to the work. Stick to the work. Hanggang matapos siya, panindigan mo. Okay, yun yung nawawala. Finally, one thing that I want to get rid of, it's not a soft skill, but we have it. Ang Pinoy kasi mayabang. Ang Pinoy mayabang. Okay, maski na walang mabuga, mayabang siya. Okay, Henry said about that unnecessary pride. Okay, for me, the best way to work with people is to exercise humility. Maging humble ka. Let your work speak to yourself. No? Naratawa ka meron dito nag-share. Paano ko yung rates ko kapareho ng may rates ng graduate o kaya professional? Does that matter? It matters if your portfolio is much better than theirs. So kung portfolio naman siya, maski na estudyante pa lamang magaling talaga, then yun, it's okay. Okay? But hindi maganda maging mayabang na, uy, maganda yung portfolio ko, tingnan mo and stuff like that. No, it doesn't work that way. What works is that regardless you're a graduate, regardless you're certified, regardless that basta lang you present it to the client and the client is convinced that you could do the job, no questions asked. No questions asked. Okay, that's the thing that as a skill, it conveys very well. But you have to exercise a little bit of humility. Kasi the humility would go for a long way. Gusto ko kita, tama si Henry, relationship building with clients. If I like Sardino and then I have a good relationship with Sardino, Sardino would come to me every time. Okay? Kasi madali ako usap. Hindi ako mayabang, hindi ako maangas, hindi ako, and so forth. Sa totoo lang, no, kaakala ng iba kasi, when we're artists, diva-diva. No, it's not true. Okay, you have to exercise humility because you're dealing with people. Pag mayabang ka, lalapitan ka ba ng tao at kliyente? Sorry, hindi. Okay, mag-artista ka. Ganon, pwede yun. Okay, but here, in this particular business, in this particular area or specialization, commitment, perseverance, resilience will keep you a long way. Okay, and humility will keep you a long way. So, yun. Those are the things that I can share.
Sir Dan, before we move on, I just want to say, hindi lahat ng millennials ganun ha. I'm millennial.
Yeah.
Like that. I was like, wait lang.
May reasons and game. Okay, which is true. I have a personal idea when it comes to, when you talk to them, may reason naman. Kaya lang hindi nila masabi sa employers.
Yes.
And,
I would argue kasi is our generation, I am a millennial. I am turning 29 in the next month. But really, one of the reasons why they do what they do, na parang, when they say na parang they just, it's because they feel like they're not being listened or they're not being
shut off. Yeah.
They're shut off. A lot of the times because they're very idealistic. That's what I realized with myself early on, and then with a lot of my peers also. They have this idea that we're here to change the world. Parang what we can do really will help everything. The moment we're shut off or the moment we're cut off, it feels like I'm not needed here. So that's why I'll leave. So yeah. No, I mean that's the feeling.
Very good,
Yeah,
very
that's
good.
the
Yeah.
feeling. That's the feeling. So parang that happened a lot early on parang in my career, but then given the certain platforms, because for example, once you gain that trust, as you said, it's all about relationship building. It's all about humility. That's something you really, I mean, my generation really needs to work on. I agree. But then once they go over that, there's so much more that they can accomplish. I don't think I'm able to, accomplish everything I can do right now had the right people not given me the right chances. You know what I mean? If I was, if I, yeah,
Give you just
sure.
a related note, no? There's this talk by Simon Sinek. He's an anthropologist. He's a world leading speaker, and he said that the reason why millennials are like that is because of the parents. Unfortunately, given the technology, given how we were the mental exercise na sinasabi mo sa anak mo, uy, dapat ganitong age, manager ka na. Uy, dapat ganitong age, ganito na dapat income mo. No, it doesn't. Okay, and that's why that stress builds up to your generation. Inaabsorb yon. And that's why it's hard for them to compete. And internally, nagkakaproblema kayo. Because nung bata kayo, binibigyan kayo ng star sa kamay, no? For every good deed that you do. So even though ikaw ang last, binibigyan ka ng star. But that's what misnomer na pag apply mo sa trabaho, kung wala kang skill ngayon, talo ka. Okay, so that particular aspect, okay, already destroys what is in there. And I feel that, no? I feel that with the millennials, wala naman nagsabi sa kanila, alam mo, wala namang award kung magbibigay sa iyo kung last ka, o kaya wala namang magbibigay ng star, o kaya yung parents mo, hindi naman pupunta sa boss mo para bigyan ka ng promotion. It doesn't work, no? It doesn't work anymore. So, ay, frat member yan, ka-ano ko yan, ka-brad ko yan, and so forth. It doesn't work anymore. Okay, so that generation, that particular aspect, and I would like that people look for that, no? Millennials, the Talking Millennials by Simon Sinek. You can find it in YouTube. It's very enlightening, and it helps also to correct the mistake. Kung maging parents kayo, I would like that you guys watch it kasi this would rear the next generation and possibly help people, no, the generation right now to uplift themselves. So tama ka, Gabe. You were saying something, Gabe.
No, that was just it. No, parang, what do you call that? Actually, no, let's just leave it at that. I don't want to digress anymore. Let's leave it at that. Different discussion altogether, but okay.
Right. So again, for those who are watching in our simultaneous broadcast in Facebook and also here in Zoom, please do remember what they are saying. We are enlightened with what you should be possessing to be able to fit in the multimedia industry. So we have patience, teamwork, adaptability, resilience, and of course, very important that Sir Dan said a while ago is be respectful, okay, and be committed as well. So the next question that I would like to ask to our panelists is, how do you see the future of the multimedia industry? Will it be a thriving business or will it go down in the next few years? And who would like to answer this first? Anyone from you?
I would like to answer this first
Go ahead.
because from a business standpoint, from all the companies that we've worked with, we will never go back to normal. A lot of the times people say na parang, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to go back to the regular programming, or I want to be able to go out to the malls anymore. Newsflash, we're never gonna go back to normal programming. This is, everybody keeps saying it. It's the new normal, and we feel this in the businesses. We feel this in the companies around the Philippines. For the most part, the industry has changed altogether. In our own company itself, a lot of our retail workforce has been moved into digital already. And from here, it's just going to go, I mean, from a digital perspective, we're just going to keep going up from here. We're just going to see more people start buying products from online. A lot more people will start buying from Shopee, Lazada, all of these online stores. We will see a lot more delivery businesses come up. We'll see a lot more apps come up, and a lot of those really are powered by digital economy. So from here, it's just going to go up. For a multimedia person, you're just going to be, we're at the start of this really digital revolution, so to speak. In other countries, the digital revolution has has happened already before, but here we're at the peak, or not even the peak. We're at the start of something that's just going to grow bigger from here. A lot more businesses will have more efforts on Facebook, on Instagram, all of that stuff. You will see a lot more live streaming. You'll see a lot more what do you call that? A lot more apps go up. So I guess what I'm trying to say is everybody will start getting more connected. If you're a business or you're a individual, it will really just be more connected with everybody already digitally. Even before this seminar, I was in a class. I had a class at 9 o'clock a.m. and then I was with my students talking and stuff like that. This is just gonna happen, more often now. Now we have talks about even at work, even most of the time, will it be work from home, like 50% work from home, or 50% work from in the office? We have these discussions already, and then because it's very uncertain now, we don't know when this is going to end or if it's going to end at all. That Schrodinger's cat. Either way, it will happen. Then we have to be able to be prepared for that. That's one thing that the companies are also starting to realize right now. We have to be prepared for what's going to come next, and that either means opening up the stores again, hopefully, or really building that capability in-house. We do see a lot of, I personally have a lot of colleagues who used to work in like a retail, retail point of view, but then they're moving into digital because it's required. There's no more, there's no more, a lot of the job descriptions out there would require digital at some point, especially if you're a marketing professional. It would be like, experience with Facebook, experience with Google, and all that stuff. It's all just going to be more connected and more digital from here on out.
I would like to add to that. And I would like to affirm what he just said, because, economy is economy. No matter what happens, there's just yung tilting of the balance, and there's going to be less of yung analog, if I can call it that, and more of digital. And it really doesn't matter anymore where you're taking your money, for just as long as the money keeps going. And mas kaunti na ngayon ang mga taong lumalabas. Mas maraming tao na ngayon ang gumagamit na lang ng digital means of doing things, buying things, getting things done. And it's going to keep on going that way. And for us in multimedia, we are in the right place at the right time. Some jobs are going to disappear, but there's no denying our skills. For as long as we keep ourselves updated, we are going to be in demand for quite a long time. Okay.
So agree.
Just make sure that you get yourself on the train, if you can say that. So maganda na nasa multimedia arts tayo ngayon. Now, if you are already in multimedia arts, make sure you know where the jobs are. Because there's a lot of work out there, really. Right now, there's so much work. There is so much work to be done. Kulang na kulang. Sir Gab just said a while ago that there are people who are transitioning to digital. That right there is a business opportunity. Nagkakandarapan tao to make sure that they get themselves on the train, para hindi sila left behind, or to close shop altogether. And they're trying to find people who can make that happen for them. Hindi mga tao nahuhula, tao with absolute skill sets who can get it done and make them earn money digitally. Are you on that train? You have to be.
True.
I like the share, guys. No, ang ganda ng share natin. No, for me, no, when I take a look at the opportunities that rise because of the pandemic, I think the thing is that I don't want to be sound very negative about it, but this is supposed to happen. No, I believe it's God's will that we have this pandemic. And the reason for which is because we are now reflective of what are the things that are important in our lives. Okay, people spend their time at home. People spend more time in with their families. People tend to see, there's something that is more to life rather than going out to work. Okay, commuting every day, doing the daily grind and so forth. Bumabalik tayo doon. Some people has lost their families, their loved ones. Some people lost their jobs. But sometimes the awareness and realization of it all, and I do hope that people take a look at this too, no, is to find the real importance of living. No, why do we work anyway? Why do we go for a good career? Why do we have to study and so forth? What's the reason why? What's the real reason? Okay, why we want to go for these things? And the opportunity would actually rise after you have realized that. No, I've seen some businesses that they feel really bad that they have to close their restaurants, they have to close their shops. Okay, some of them are laid out at work and so forth. But you know, if you're smart enough, you might find opportunity there. Okay, for some people who lost their restaurants, they just transformed their businesses. Tama sinabi ni Gabe, no? They have to go for a business transformation. They went online to sell their goods. Okay, if for people to know our particular competition is flat, very flat. Okay, what does it mean? Whatever value proposition that maybe example lang schools would give out, they're basically flat right now because everybody study at home. And the only way that you place in value is to add more features to your curriculum, add more features in what you do, add features in how you're going to conduct your classes and so forth. But everything is flat. Okay? Parang na Armageddon tayo na digitally in a way. But you know, since it's Armageddon, it's open opportunity for all. And those things also can be applied in any other aspect in business, whether it be real estate, whether it be manufacturing and so forth. Of course, those things, no, they're knocked out. Online presence becomes very, very real. Dati, ang online classes and distance learning, tinatawanan na, what for? Bakit ba? Okay, why should we go digital? Okay, but now, okay, given the pandemic, there is this huge opportunity for going digital. And the reasons for it is because a lot of people are now respectful of time. A lot of people are online, not because they find convenience of it, but to think of it, there's now this time, work, family balance that you want to go online for a particular time because you want to spend more time with your family, that kind of thing. And I see that transformation going, but you have to be smart enough so that the transformation would work. Okay, and that's when certification comes in. Yung sinasabi ni Henry, that's also when tama si Gabe, you have to work and then you have to learn the process so that you could do things better. Okay, so yun, that's my take on it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sir Daniel, Sir Gabriel, and Sir Henry. What I can say is that I definitely agree with what you said. The new normal is actually here to stay. And your field, multimedia arts, is actually here to be with us forever, probably. So let's go now to the next question. And this is actually an advice. I would like to ask you, what advice can you give to the younger generation who are interested in pursuing a career in the multimedia industry? And any one of you can start answering this.
Can I start with that?
Yeah, sure, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, the best way to get started is by having heart for it. Okay. Hindi lang dahil gusto mo mag-dabble into it. That's the first part. You dabble into yung you get curious about yung gusto mong gawin. Maybe gusto mo mag-drawing, o baka gusto mo mag 3D, gusto mo ng photography, o gusto mo ng video. It's nice to be getting into yung different tasks in multimedia and being curious about it. But beyond that, you really have to develop real passion. Okay, beyond yabang, we have to be passionate and really very into what we're doing, because it takes a lot of knowledge to be able to do things correctly. There's a lot of people out there who are doing things na nanghuhula lang sila. And that's very frustrating for everyone else who is in the team who will have to correct, or kung if there's nobody in the team who can do it, you're going to have to hire people, which is going to cost more money just to correct the problems. And so having that kind of a problem is not desirable for multimedia arts. Make sure that you develop a passion and you stay into it, and you stay into it for your whole lifetime. You know, I started out uh, with being a music enthusiast when I was 14 years old. I'm still into it now. So yun lang po yun. Make sure that you have a heart into whatever you're doing. Don't do it for the money, because that's not going to work. Okay. uh, Italians are very good at being passionate about what they love. They love what they're doing. They love what they have. They love what they're thinking about. It's all about being having care. May pakialam ka, may pagmamahal ka doon sa ginagawa mo, sa whatever you're getting yourself into. And that's what Filipinos need to really have beyond yabang, is to find out how things are done and how to do things better. Again, I can never overstress the importance of world standards. World standards will get us one step ahead if we know where to step first. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir Gabriel?
Sure. My advice really is not really for anybody looking into, doing MMA specifically, but even like what to do in general. A lot of the times I have students come up to me and say, "Sir, I don't really know what I'll do after high school or after college. Like, how do I know what to do?" So my norm or my usual advice is, what sort of problems do you really want to accomplish or try to figure out or solve? Because multimedia arts is two facets. It's creative and it's technical. Creative in a sense where you're fueled by your creativity in your arts, but also technical. What sort of problems do you want to solve? A lot of the times, for the students or for my peers who also went through MMA, by the time they finished MMA, they're so burnt out creatively. And then for them, sometimes they don't even pursue a career in the arts anymore. But then I would argue that you have to be able to, number one, be passionate about it, but also the next one is make sure that the problems in multimedia arts is something you want to solve. Because at first, I used to be a very traditional artist. I love to paint, I love to draw and all that stuff. But after multimedia arts, I didn't want to look at another drawing book anymore. But what I did find out in my technical skills, that I was pretty adept at doing coding, web coding. I hated it at first, but it's something that led me eventually to my first job. So I would have, before you take multimedia arts, you have to ascertain if you really have the passion for it. Number one, it's very important, but also make sure that the problems in multimedia arts is something you want to solve. Because sometimes, the passion sometimes comes and goes, but then if you always have those technical skills with you, I think that's something that you'll flourish in. Because I really love the creative aspect of my work. But then sometimes, just as much as I love the technical aspect of my work, like creating websites or leading teams to create websites, but at the end of the day, sometimes they're not very creative. But it's something that I like to help businesses do also. So managing the expectation of, before you take multimedia arts, number one, you have to be passionate about it, but also number two, just as important is, you want to be able to answer those same problems that multimedia arts can solve.
Right. Thank you, Sir Gabriel. Let's move to Sir Daniel. Sir, what advice can you give to our younger generation?
Hi, Sir Dino. No, actually, I want to stress on something that the two other speakers elaborated upon on their questions from their answers from the last questions, and that is collaboration. No, collaboration with like-minded people. No, finding, okay, you are not alone. No, it was very difficult for me. Although I was able to study alone. Okay, what are the skills that I need for this, despite of having a different undergrad? It doesn't mean that you can't do the same thing also, but it helps and propels you even more if you are with people that are like you. Okay, that are like you. Okay, so how do you build that? Sir, hanap ka ng barkada na hindi ka tina-trash talk na kinuha mo kasi ang multimedia arts, ang hirap-hirap ng arts, ang mahal-mahal and stuff like that. You don't stay with family members who tell you na, dapat nag-accounting ka na lang o kaya nag-comsci ka na lang rather than doing digital arts and so forth. That will not help. What would help is going with people who believe the same way that you believe. Okay, the same aspect of art, who also loves art, who also likes drawing anime, who also likes coding, okay, who also likes designing for people, who likes earning a living from doing what they want to do. Because if you can't do that, okay, if you can't find people, okay, that would go around you, that becomes something that is a very difficult thing to do. And if you have people that have that same mindset, it's easy to go for that type of that type of endeavor. Kasi internally you're already having your own struggle, and then people outside are externally forcing you down. Then it won't work. But if externally outside they are helping you, trying to put you into track, okay, trying to do the same thing that you do, it helps. And this is where I want to segue, okay, in building your networks and building communities and so forth. Do you mind if I share my screen, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so and this is where I want to introduce the Multimedia Arts Association of the Philippines. We know that, okay, being a multimedia arts uh, student or practitioner, it needs skill sets, and sometimes, okay, you might not afford the certification that's out there. You might not be able to go you have financial struggle kasi hindi niyo matapos yung degree. It doesn't mean that your life ends there and then you say goodbye to your career. Okay, MMA, okay, has been here for almost 2 decades, and this new association would likely embrace you guys to form a community and network so that we guys can still thrive. Okay, tama si Sir Bolo, there are many opportunities out there, and given the new normal, okay, we could take this all together. But we have to stick together, and that's my thing. Okay, you find like-minded people with among this, and then you could find this. You could find this in Facebook. Okay, so you look for MMAAP, and you'll find it. Okay. Now, for those who are into multimedia arts but specializing in animation, let me go and share you another thing also. Okay, and this is animation. No, I'm part of the Animation Council of the Philippines. I'm the executive director, and one of the things that I want to shed light is that, okay, there are other events that allow you to be enriched. Okay, know those skills, knows the knowledge, and then attitudes that you have to be. And this is animation. Animation is not just a competition; it's also a conference. It's also about awarding, and it's a nice way to look at it. It's 2 weeks long. Okay, there are 10 days, and then it's a paid event. But mind you, you become part of the membership. Okay, and this becomes a larger community. And because you're with like-minded people, okay, you guys can thrive. The same thing also for multimedia arts of the Philippines. So if I were you, okay, if for example, sir, na LOA ako ngayon, okay, na my parents can send me to school, o kaya I have limited funds, but I still want to go and learn, join networks, spend your time with like-minded people, go to these events, try to get your network attached. Okay, maski na mag-chat online, it's not bad. Okay, but you learn. Don't keep yourself idle. Sayang ang time. Okay, go to the webinars that you think would actually help you, like this one. Okay, this is a very good and very good channel to look at creativity because it affirms your direction. Okay, and you have to listen to people that also have that same direction so that you can go. Okay, so yun lang. Okay, that's my take on it. Thank you very much, Dino.
Thank you so much, Sir Daniel. And just to segue to what they are saying, I would just like to tell the audience, our live viewers in Facebook and here in Zoom, that Trinity University of Asia is offering the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology with a specialization in multimedia animation and game development and mobile, web, and software development. So those are actually the two majors. But aside from that, we are also offering the Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. So if you wish to study multimedia our university is open for you. Our doors are open for you. And let us move now to the questions coming from the audience. And there are a lot of questions that I can see. Some of them have been answered in our discussion, but here are some of the questions coming from Zoom. This is coming from John Matthew Ong. This is for Mr. Henry Bolo. Do you find it easier as you can just record voiceover in your home? That is, meron po kayong studio sa bahay.
Okay. I have a converted toilet. Opo, nagre-recording ako sa loob ng CR. Totoo po yun. That's what I do. But I've converted it. Nilagyan ko ng mga lumang kutsyon. And that already suffices. Dahil tahimik at all four sides, semento po yun at wala akong bintana. So, tahimik sa loob, walang echo, walang reverberation yung kwarto, and nakakapag-record ako sa loob, and mas gusto ko dahil here, I can command yung oras ko. Kung lalabas ako, kasi dito ako sa Quezon City nakatira. Kung pupunta pa ako sa Makati para mag-record, abutin ako ng 3 kalahating oras bago ako makarating doon. So, it's 7 wasted hours on the road. 7. Hindi po ako nagbibiro. 7 hours wasted just by commuting. And napakaraming po pwedeng gawin with that time. And the biggest thing to it, kasi nakakapag-edit po ako ng sarili kong works, I can do take 1, take 2, take 3. No pressure. Kahit take 27, okay lang. Dahil hawak ko yung oras ko. Basta ma-perfect ko ng tama yung ginagawa ko. And then ipadala ko doon sa kliyente na happy naman sila. The game. Di ba? Yun lang po yun. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Sir Henry. Now, here's another question coming from Jared Pacheco. He said, for all panelists, how can we convince the general mass, or maybe the masses, especially those from the older generation, that there is work in art? Most older people usually focus on the monetary aspect of jobs, that art in its wholeness is discriminated in our country, to the point that even if you have heart for that line of work, you wouldn't have a choice but to adjust your wants according to what your parents or the people around you tell you. So ano daw po, paano daw natin mako-convince ang
I'd like to answer that.
people? So who would like to answer that?
Ako po muna. May I go on this one? Let's look at it from the pandemic point of view. Okay? Why is it that the world is now thriving? Why is it that the economies are able to go forward? Why is it that we have companies that are surviving? Bakit? Why do we continue to earn money? Without people being in multimedia and the digital arts, none of this would have been possible. IT and multimedia is making the world go round right now. Sige, let's all shut down and then the whole world is going to collapse. It's just as easy as that. Make them realize that, and okay, they have food on their table because of the digital means. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was so passionate. I love it.
Go ahead, sir. Maybe you have something to add.
Sure, I would also say that, just jumping off from what Sir Henry said, that everything is very digital right now. Actually, we launched full campaigns, digital campaigns from inside my room. We were able to win top 1 in Lazada and Shopee from inside my room. It's pretty funny. That's it. I just wanted to say that it's true. We're in a very digital economy already. And then going to the part of how to make people see, what was that specific question? How do we
convince the general masses, especially those who are coming from older generation, that there is work in art?
Oh, work in art. I mean, art, kasi right now it's a traditional art or digital. I'm gonna assume it's digital. So I would take, for example, my parents right now. So my parents love to watch YouTube and love to really scroll Facebook right now. And I always say that the best way for you to understand something is not from the other end, because a lot of the times people, again, they get so intimidated by digital or parang my multimedia or digital as a whole. But then you experience it every day. As you know, a lot of the older generation are moving into Facebook, or starting to use Viber, or starting to appreciate digital channels talaga. And then I think that's a great way for them to appreciate digital art and art as a whole, because everything that they consume on your mobile device is, you know, digital. That's it. Like, you can tell your parents, or you can tell the old generation that, hey, I'm creating the content that you watch on your phone. Hey, I create the TikToks, or I help create the TikToks that, you know, you watch and you laugh in your phone. There's something that I'm very excited to share now. The past few months, the market share of the older generation who are shopping on, you know, the e-commerce websites are increasing. Like, a lot more of the older generation are buying their groceries, are buying or are consuming media on YouTube and on Facebook. And that's such a great way to really introduce what you want to do. For example, if I'm a student who wants to take multimedia arts and I want to explain it to my parents or to, you know, older relatives, you can relay it that way. It's not they experience digital and art every day, but they don't realize it. But I think, as somebody who, for example, as a younger person, it's so easy to say, na actually, tita, dad, mom, what you're looking at right now is something I want to do in the future. And we all know it's going to just, you know, grow from here. And I want to become a part of that. I think that's a great way for you to be able to relate, you know, your experience with them.
Right. So, thank you so much, do you have something to add?
Oh yeah. You don't have to stray too far to convince them. No, when you watch Netflix or any other movie, no, you run through this one. Okay, example lang, bigyan ko kayo. Kasi we could explain it that way. Okay, like for example, manood ka ng Big Hero 6. No, Big Hero 6. You watch Big Hero 6, tapos habang may upload mo, alam mo, daddy, yan yung gusto ko. Gusto maging animator, gusto maging part ng production yan. O talaga, wala kang skills sa animation. Pangit mo nga mag-drawing and so forth. Kaya lang, alam mo, daddy, pag tinignan mo yung credits, pag roll ng credits doon sa baba, you'd find names like Armand Serrano. Armand Serrano is a Filipino. Filipino yan, Pinoy yan, daddy. Ang galing yan. Kaya nandito siya, he travels around the world doing a lot of projects, educating people, no, teaching them the craft and so forth. Ganun ba? Okay, so malaking pera ba dyan? Oo, daddy, malaking pera kasi makita mo all those artists that I hired in that credit page, okay, they're part of it also. And the problem is with people is that they would always gratify what they don't see. Okay, sometimes, okay, they have the visualization that artists are poor. Okay, they're not. Okay, they have fulfilling professions. Okay, another example is when you watch Inside Out. Pag pinanood ng Inside Out, may kita mo director doon, okay? For story, may kita mo, ay, Ronnie Del Carmen. Ronnie Del Carmen is Filipino, no? Ay, daddy, kapitbahay natin yan. He sees that in BF and so forth. Umuwi siya from time to time. Okay? Yeah, that's Ronnie Del Carmen. He visited Benil noong 6 years ago. Tapos he shared some insights and so forth. Okay?
Actually, sir, I was part of that talk. I was there also. Talk.
And Ronnie is a very humble person, no, but he's well known, no, and there are many other Pinoys out there that are renowned. Okay, Luis Portacio as an example, he made Bishops and sa X-Men and so forth, but hindi sila nabibigyan ng popularity kasi ay Pinoy lang yan, ay ito artist lang and so forth. No, it's not. It's a lucrative profession, and citing those things, taking a look. Okay, manood kayo ng Dragon Ball Super. I guess people would look at Dragon Ball Super. Doon pa lamang nakalagay, okay? TUA Animation Philippines. Nandun mismo, nakalagay. Ay, tayo gumagawa doon? Oo. Bakit? Mas mura sa atin eh. Okay? Mas kaya ng talent natin eh. Okay? Maraming Pilipino gumagawa ng animation. Okay? May ano ba doon? May maganda ba sahod doon and so forth? Alam mo, it's not about the pay. It's doing what you want to do and getting paid for it. Okay? So, yun stress natin. Okay? That's the only way that we can educate the masses to look at things that are already out there. And then stress na there are Filipinos that are working, okay? Their backs on it, but they love doing it. Yun lang. Okay, that's the only way for me.
Right. Thank you so much, Sir Dan. That's very enlightening. There are other questions here in our chat box. I think some of the questions have been answered. So, like, why do some people think of having a career in multimedia is underrated? So we have answered that a while ago. This is coming from the Vice President of Trinity, Dr. Gisela Luna. Marketing and multimedia arts obviously require digital knowledge. So how can a computer graduate get into this industry, and what skill would they need to know to be able to serve marketing and multimedia arts? I guess we were able to answer that in our discussion, the soft skills and values. And here's another question coming from...
Sir Dino, is it okay that I inject a little bit dun sa marketing aspect? Yeah. One important aspect in this rising science right now, it's data analytics. Marketing, okay, it's needed. Okay, Gabe is a testament to that. Marunong ka dapat magbasa ng numbers. These numbers represent how much reach, how much audiences are there. Okay, how many actually talk about your product, how many talk about your service. Okay, so those things are important and the numbers tell that. Okay, and big data, mind you, big data is really in. Okay, whatever you place in Google, whatever you place in all those freeware and so forth, they extract the information and they sell the information to companies because they're able to do studies, certain correlations na alam mo yung mga tao pag nagre-remittance sila, buhay-buli sila ng Starbucks kaagad. Okay, and that behavioral aspect gives you an idea na alam mo kung ganun pala pagkakatanggap ng ng remittance kasi magsa-splurge ka and so forth, maganda sana katabi ng remittance center, Starbucks. You understand? So those things are really important. Okay, it just so happens that the science behind it, okay, traditional marketing aspects, although they're important, they're nice to understand, but there are new ones. And data analytics, okay, and information data science is the thing to go. Okay, so if you haven't heard of it and so forth, I would like that you guys take a look at it because it's a new field. It's a relatively new field. It's much stronger than ComSci. Okay, because in ComSci you develop applications and so forth. Gaya lang sa marketing, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Data analytics is there. All you have to do is study it well. Okay, yun lang.
To add lang also, Google and Facebook have very comprehensive code academies and ad academies that everybody can take for free. And it doesn't give you the full breadth of digital marketing as a whole, but it's a great starter if you want to dip your feet. So if you have a computer background or a what do you call that, development background, that's something definitely you'll understand. And Google and Facebook make it very easy for you to understand. It's not very intimidating at all. Again, free siya. As long as you have a Gmail account, you can start all of the courses and you can even get certified.
Right. So thank you so much. Here's another question. What are some challenges that aspiring multimedia art students should expect along the way? I think we were able to answer that a while ago. So this is a very interesting question coming from one of our audience. What is the impact of multimedia in education, especially in the field of e-learning?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So as a professor or as a teacher who does online learning over Zoom and Hangouts, Google Hangouts and all that stuff, I could say that it is so big. Our school, St. Benilde, has a lot of efforts to really educate our professors in how to create content. A lot of the times it's not always successful. I mean, because sometimes there's just this age gap or generational gap already. But the fact that we're able to really educate even the older generations of professors in creating content is so important. But digital marketing, we have a long way to go. In other markets around the world, in other countries around the world, they're starting to use VR in education, meaning we can start developing for medical schools of using VR, like with your phone in front of you. Tapos a lot of the classes are conducted that way. So digital, multimedia arts plays such a big role in that because one aspect that we're really looking into is virtual reality, and that's something that's being taught already right now in multimedia arts also. We're just scratching the surface basically in e-learning, because we're just using Zoom, we're just using Google Hangouts or even Google Slides. But down the line, it's just going to get more comprehensive. It's going to get more in depth.
Right. What about Sir Henry? Sir Henry, do you have any idea about this? Like
Sorry, yeah,
education?
can you repeat the question again? Because I'm taking it from what Sir Gab was saying, but I can't remember what the original question
The
was.
question is, what is the impact of multimedia in education, especially in the field of e-learning?
Okay. May siguro may mga nakikita kayong mga lumalabas na mga materials na may mga errors. Okay? That's a hot topic everywhere right now. But alam niyo kung ano, let me just defend that first. Anyone and everyone makes mistakes. Okay? So, it's likely to happen, most especially if sobrang stress na yung mga tao nagtatrabaho. At 2 o'clock in the morning na, you might miss one thing. And it's just that one thing na pwedeng pagkapestahan ng buong mundo. So it's very important that you yourself do not do the job yourself. Sir Dan said that. Okay, make sure that you work with people in collaboration. Maybe it's not just you yourself. Pwedeng yung nag-check ng work mo, hindi lang ikaw, kundi yung client mo. Just 2 days ago, I submitted something and I thought it was okay. As in, 2 beses ko pa siya ni-review. Pagdating sa kanya, merong missing line. I'm like, wow, how did that happen? I checked it twice. Okay? So, okay. We make mistakes, but it should not go unnoticed before these things are put out. There has to be someone na nagche-check ulit before these things actually are put out. Okay? Ang impact ng trabaho natin is the next generation altogether, because yung ating way of learning is now different. It's not the classroom way anymore. Napakaiba na ng ating learning ngayon. And then that, what we used to take mga 3 oras ng teacher, dakdak lang ng dakdak, pero hindi interesado yung estudyante. Right now, what is most important is dapat interesado yung estudyante. Then we move forward. Because kung hindi interesado yung estudyante, what do you move forward with? Wala, di ba? It's a dead end. The learning does not happen. You have to have the student first interested. So that's why us, on our part as content providers and content makers, kailangan we have to make it interesting and relatable sa mga estudyante. Current, up-to-date, modern, and in the language and interests ng mga bata. We can't talk like, 1 apple plus 1 apple equals 2 apples. So what? Diba? But if you can say something like, you know what? You'll earn 5 pesos from 1 apple. If you have 2, ilan ang mabibili mong candy noon? Yan. Something like that. Or, okay, teka, sa 10 piso, anong mabibili mo sa Shopee? Parang ganun eh. We reverse the whole process. We don't say, what's 1 apple plus 1 apple? We can say something like, okay, meron kang 10 piso na pwede mo ipambili sa Shopee dahil nagbenta ka ng mansanas. It's like that. So, yun po ang aking take doon. The way that we do things is now reversed with education, and then that we all, as educators now, have to take note of this one. Make students interested. Give them a reason to listen and be passionate. Yun po. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Henry. Sir Dan, would you like to add something about that?
Multimedia. Oh, yeah. Alam mo, one aspect that is growing in multimedia is that people are getting visual. People are getting visual. They like to look at visual content. They like looking at YouTube. Medyo ADHD nga in the thing sa TikTok. But they get the largest reach. Why? Because it is visual. Okay? And no matter how sabihin natin it's on a foreign language or sabihin natin in a different context and so forth, people now watch anime, hindi naman natin naintindihan ng hapon. Of course, there's subtitles and so forth, but the whole aspect that it's being visual makes it easier for you to understand things. Okay. In line to that, I'll give an example. If I say na sabihin natin, there's this question na sinasabi nga, kasi ang kulang natin talaga is the number of local works that our country comes out for animation. It's good animation. You know what? Okay, I'll show a slide. Okay, I could make kwento. Kaya lang, pag nagkwento ako, wala eh. You're not what you call interested kasi it's a talking head. Okay, but if I show a graphic, okay, let's just say, I'll show right now. Okay, and I will say that, alam mo, from 2000 to 2020, merong Adarna, meron Dayo, meron RPG Metanoia, meron Saving Sally, meron Barangay 143. And right now in Netflix, meron ng Hayop Ka by Avid, and then meron ng Barangay 143 in Netflix. And sikat na ang Pinoy. The problem is patronage. Patronage to the craft. Alam mo kasi, the reason why most people don't really go into animation and so forth, mahal ang animation. Hindi kaya ng mga local producers dito. And for them, it's good for them to understand this with the ROI, return of investment. So if for example, we want to make good animation, we have to convince the local producers and investors to invest on this because it's not cheap. Okay? It's not that affordable. And of course, may mga tao na they think na, ay, gawa lang yan ng Pinoy. Huwag na natin panoorin. Ay, gaya-gaya ang Barangay 143 sa anime and so forth. But it's a start. Okay? It's hard to convey that if kikwento ko lang siya. But if you go for a slide, show that slide, it gives attention. Okay? Static lang yun. What more kung gumawa pa akong animation? What more kung may boses pa ni Henry Bolo doon? Di ba? So it comes out in a different context and way. That's how online education should raise from this one. Most people think na online education, magturo ka lang ng drawing in front of a camera, yun na yun for 3 hours. No, it's not. Sad to say, it's not going to be effective. But if you strategize it in a certain way, maski na bite-sized piece, 5 minutes lang, simple delivery, well delivered, in that 3-hour lecture can be condensed into a 10-minute presentation. Okay, so that's the task of online learning right now, and that's the task of, and the challenge of multimedia artists all around the world to make it enticing for them to learn. Yeah.
Right. Maraming salamat, Sir Daniel. And because of time constraints, we can probably entertain, maybe this will be the last question. Now, here's a good question coming from our audience. Multimedia arts is comprised of various areas of expertise: photography, animation, virtual reality, etc. What would be the fresh graduate's best entry to rewarding multimedia arts career? So what's their best entry for a career in multimedia? So
I'll start, but I feel like that's a very loaded question. Meaning more of, I think it will always go down to what are you the best at, or what do you feel like the best you're going to do at. A lot of the times, a lot of the students that we have is always always static. They always start out as a static artist doing posters, doing ads on Facebook and all of that stuff. But then later on, you'll start to realize where your actual affinities are for. You start doing GIFs or moving content, and then after moving content, it turns into VR, and after VR, sometimes it's into games already. I would always think of multimedia arts again as a stepping stone for every other thing. So multimedia arts, it's not flat. I mean, it always evolves into something else, because whatever you're good at one thing, it will develop into a new skill under multimedia arts later on. So my advice is to start at what you're good at, but then also at the same time be open to the other aspects of multimedia arts. Because the more you learn about one thing, it will open up an opportunity for sure for another thing, and then it's just going to keep growing on from there. But if you want to start from the basics, it's always static. It's always with static works and posters and social media and stuff like that.
Right. So, What about our other panelists? Do you have something to add? What do you think is the best stepping stone for a lucrative career in multimedia?
I would say go with what you're passionate with, what you're good at. Okay? Sabihin natin na ako magaling sa voice over or sa music, pero hindi ako marunong mag-drawing. Even if people tell me go into drawing, but if I'm not good at it, why? Diba? I mean, it's really with what you're good at. Sabihin natin yung laban dati ng hip-hop at saka punks. Uh, why would you get into punk music kung alam mong hip-hop ka deep inside? Diba? Yun yun eh. Just make sure that you go with what your passions are. Kung saan ka magaling, kung saan ka komportable. Yun. Kung ano yung type mo, go with that. Because you can't go wrong.
Right. Sir Dan, do you have something to add?
I'll show a slide so that you guys can understand. Again, I'll use yung visual na portion natin. I'll show a slide right now to affirm this. No, and it's this one. It's related to animation, ren. Okay, but I'm using a slide with something that you guys should know about. Okay, and there are two areas here. One is that this is a study that's given to Synergy 88, and then they shared to me. And this is a world study. Okay, North America has 27% of animation studios in the world. Okay, Europe is 22%. Asia is 38%, guys. Asia ang pinakamalaking market. Okay, rest of the world is 13. Okay, and if you are gonna ask me, okay, of course, there's 2D animation, there's 3D animation, but 2D animation, there are other countries are into that. Okay, 3D animation, of course, the Western market or North America is into that. Okay, and special effects, mind you, okay, North America has this expertise. If you're gonna ask me, okay, this is that niche that we can go for: web animation and application and others. Okay, because it's 22 plus 10%, it's 32%. Okay, and what does it mean? Alam mo, you don't have to stray so far. You could look at web and digitalization of applications to be the next frontier. Okay, yung kinikwento natin data analytics, the ads, and they have to be designed. Okay, it can be that. So as being a multimedia artist, these are the exciting times because I don't have to learn very technical special effects. I don't have to learn 3D animation, 2D animation. I could just work with a niche. This part over here, AR and VR, or maybe go for web animation and all those simple graphics that you find in your mobile phone apps. Yun na lang, okay? And they pay me good cash also. It might not be as popular as the others, but looking at web animation is something. Okay, and that's where I think the next trend is going to be. It's going to be towards web. Okay, it's towards graphics that you construct for the web and mobile phones. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Sir Dan. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we will be hearing the final words coming from our panelists. What would you like to say to our audience? I would like to start with Sir Gabriel. Sir Gabriel, for your final word.
So I think I would like to leave a lot of the audience here are mostly people or students who would want to get into multimedia arts. I would say take the leap, go for it if you're able to, because this industry, multimedia arts, is just going to grow from here. There's going to be so much more jobs that we don't have yet that will stem from multimedia arts. I mean, I feel like my job 20 years ago or 15 years ago did not even exist yet, like really ahead of a digital marketing division. And now we even have divisions for social media. We even have divisions for multimedia, for digital ads and all of that stuff. So I urge you to pursue multimedia arts. Make sure that it's something that you're passionate about also, but at the same time, they're the questions and problems that you want to answer. And at the same time, find a credible school for it. A lot of schools out there really say they offer, but you really have to understand their curriculum very well. You really make sure that what you want is something that they're offering, like here in Trinity. So I hope that in the next few years, once next few years or so, I hope that the people who are watching right now some of my contemporaries, or already some of the people who I work with in the industry already. Thank you, Sir Dino.
Thank you so much, Sir Gabriel. And now let's move to the final word of Sir Henry Bolo. Sir Henry.
Um, I said it before, and I think ending with it, I hope you guys really take it seriously that number one, pag-aralan nyo na mabuti. Okay? We can't stop at being mayabang. We have to defend yung yabang natin with a lot of basis in work. Okay? We have to be very good at what we do, better than others, better than other nationalities. And we can only do that by keeping up with what the whole world is doing and then innovating from that. You can't innovate from air. You have to base your innovation on something. Okay, so find out what the fundamentals are. Find out what the standards are. Get yourself certified, and then innovate. Okay, that's the way it goes. And from there, you know that you got something going for yourself. You've got a brand of work that you can push yourself forward with, and then go get yourself some money. Yun po.
Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po, Sir Henry Bolo. And of course, Mr. Daniel Enriquez.
Guys, ganito. I agree also with the other panelists, but there are certain traits that maybe that you guys have to instill so that you could succeed in this particular industry. Okay. Number one is find a way. Find a way parate. Sir, ang hirap mag-aral ng multimedia arts kasi si daddy hindi makasakay ng barko. O kaya si mami hindi sapat of funds o kaya nawala ng trabaho. It doesn't stop there. You could go for short courses and programs. You could look at webinars like given by Trinity like this one to educate yourself. There's YouTube out there. Okay, there are other ways to learn and to make a good portfolio. Okay, why do you want to learn? So that you can make a good portfolio. Why do you want to have a strong portfolio? So that you can get a job. No? So one step at a time and then go for that. And finally, the last portion, and I guess na-stress na ni Henry, it's really patience. You be patient with people. Okay, if for example you can't enroll this term, okay, or you have this particular online class and then medyo hirap ka sa arts, be patient. No, one of the things that is a hindrance to us is internal, instant gratification. Kasi we get it in Lazada, we get it when we buy stuff at home. No, it's so parang instantaneous. Snap, 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 nandun na. You know, you be patient. You be patient with your parents that they cannot afford yet the type of education that you have right now. Be patient with them. Be patient with your teachers that they can deliver the way that you expect them to deliver. No, you be patient with everybody. No, maski na yung katabi mong kapatid na maingay na habang nag-aaral ka sumisigaw, no, hindi ka nakaka-focus. Okay, so those are tiny things, no, but it helps, no, being patient kasi alam mo that patience will grow on you and it becomes a habit so that when you actually reach out to clients and you talk to people or even colleagues that are working with you, you exercise that and hindi ka nababother, hindi ka na-attack, hindi ka nagpo-fall sa mga anxiety attacks nila kasi you are more stronger as a person. So yun. So find a way to build your portfolio. You find a way to make your portfolio strong so that you could get a good job. Okay? And one step at a time, and finally, patience. Exercise patience all the time. Yun lang. Okay. Thank you very much, Trinity, for this. Okay. Opportunity to reach out to people.
Yeah, maraming salamat po, Mr. Gabriel Del Carmen, Mr. Daniel Enriquez, and Mr. Henry Bolo. Thank you so much for very enlightening and informative panel discussion that we had this afternoon. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I will be calling the manager of the Marketing and Communications Office of Trinity University of Asia, Ms. Jinky Gamit, for some important announcements. Ma'am Jinky?
Good afternoon, everyone. Salamat po sa pagbibigay nyo ng panahon sa pag-join sa aming Trinity University of Asia Trinity Talk Career Series. I am happy to inform you that you have the opportunity to win raffle prizes such as voucher worth 500 pesos, free loads from two big telecoms company. Plus, we will have a grand raffle uh, wherein we will give two major prizes. As of now, I want to surprise you. What are these major items that you will have a chance to win? Um, you need to attend at least 4 career series to get raffle stub for grand raffle draw, which will happen next year after the last Trinity Talk. Winners for today career series will be posted on our website and FB page next week. We shall also inform you through text or through email. Please do not forget to answer the evaluation form. Once you submitted it, we will send you your e-certificate plus your raffle stub. And for those students who would like really to pursue the course of multimedia, I'm happy to inform you that we are offering Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, and it's headed by our Dean, Dr. Ricky Bunag, and Miss Lori Lee Batan. Thank you so much. And please, if you have any other questions, you can still visit our website, www.tua.edu.ph. Maraming salamat po, and I'm looking forward of seeing you next week for our next career series of Trinity Talk. And that will happen on next Saturday, October 24 at 10:30 in the morning. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Jinky Gamit of the Marketing and Communications Office of Trinity University of Asia. And we are inviting all our viewers again to join us next week as we showcase the trends in the hospitality and tourism industry. So please do check the Trinity University of Asia's website, that's www.tua.edu.ph, as well as our official social media pages for updates and more details about this. And as we close this program, I want you to stay and watch the products or what we call as outputs, multimedia arts students output of Trinity University of Asia. So muli, maraming salamat po. Ako po si Assistant Professor Dino Cantal of the Media and Communication Department of Trinity University of Asia. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you again next week in another episode of Trinity Talk, the online panel discussion. God bless you. Goodbye.